warm welcome. This is Reda Sadki from the Geneva Learning Foundation. We'll be going live on Facebook to share with you the launch of what we call the Impact Accelerator. This year, it's part of the COVID-19 Peer Hub, in which hundreds of immunization staff from all over the world have joined hands in order to develop and invent new ways to respond and adapt and to keep vaccination services going during the pandemic. So stay with us. We'll be starting in just over 2 minutes, and we'll be sharing very exciting the launch of the Impact Accelerator. See you soon.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Welcome, everyone. So we needed a metaphor to launch the Impact Accelerator. So it is happening today. You are members of the COVID-19 Peer Hub who are in the room, but we're also sharing on Facebook Live, broadcasting this, live streaming this, sharing this important moment in the development of the Peer Hub. We are launching today, and we thought it'd be really important to make sure that people who haven't been involved or who are following but haven't been participating fully still feel involved and included as in this work being done by immunization staff from all over the world to share experience, spread ideas, and take action to keep vaccination going during the pandemic. So where do we start, and what is this Impact Accelerator business? So it's a very simple question. You developed an action plan in the COVID-19 Peer Hub or in a course in another scholar program. So really, the question before you is, are you ready to now take action? Developing a peer-reviewed action plan is one important step, and this is the next question. So before I go any further, I want to share a little bit about what happened in July 2019. And I know there's a number of people in the room who participated in the very first Impact Accelerator. This is a second one. So you can see here that it's about mobilization, about momentum, about healthy competition, as we'll be reporting back on how different countries' participants are doing as well, about networking, and most of all, in the context of a pandemic, this is especially important, really about overcoming difficulties by helping each other and doing the best that we can with the resources that we have. Just to give you a sense of what happened in July 2019 and what might actually be different this year, you can see here, these are some of the pictures. I challenge you to identify the countries that these pictures are from. All over the world, meetings in which scholars who participated in the Impact Accelerator came together, country groups, national teams, as we're now calling them, to take forward their course projects, the peer-reviewed projects that they had developed, and moving them forward, coming together to really support each other with this motto in French, "Nous sommes ensemble, we are together," which is really at the core of what the general feeling that there was throughout the month of July and beyond. So you can see the many, probably hundreds of meetings here. And I want to stop here. This on the right-hand side is the permanent secretary, so the EPI manager, former EPI manager of Cameroon. On the left-hand side is our very own Charlotte Mbou. Charlotte, could you tell us what's happening here and how is this linked to the Impact Accelerator?
All right, Reda. So once again, good afternoon, evening to everyone, depending on where you're joining from. So here we were at the National EPI Monitoring Meeting. That was 2019. And the EPI manager for Cameroon decided to recognize formally all the scholars from Cameroon who were in attendance at that meeting. And so printed out all of the certificates that we had received at that time as scholars. And they were officially handed over to us. And in the same line, we were trying to put together the Cameroon Scholar team in preparation of the Impact Accelerator launch pad for last year. So it was a wonderful moment, and it's great for me to see that picture, Reda. So thanks for pulling it up.
Sure, my pleasure. And a great moment when we realized that people were EPI managers, national teams were doing things with the Scholar program without even asking us and taking things forward in order to use them for their own country's purposes. Now, you may ask yourself, okay, this song and dance pictures and videos are nice, but how is this actually making a difference? And you can see here, this may be a little bit hard to interpret because I don't want to spend too much time here. I want to focus on giving you the information you're going to need to actually join and fully participate in the Impact Accelerator component of the COVID-19 Peer Hub. But basically, people who did not participate in the Launchpad. So they went through a scholar course or scholar program, and then they did not participate in the Impact Accelerator Launchpad. You can see that 44% of them, 6 months after the Launchpad, were not implementing their course projects. Conversely, you can see that the green bars, that people who did participate, a third of them were implementing their making progress with their projects individually. 1 in 8 with a group project, and half of them were actually working together as part of a country team to take a country-based project forward. So you can see the difference that this experience will make. And what to finish introducing the Impact Accelerator before giving you the specific details, really what it is you have already experienced it, hopefully in the last 6 to 8 weeks, is that we're talking about a kind of human knowledge networks. And it's really about uniting alumni in a shared pledge to turn knowledge into action. And so this methodology, which we invented together with the contributions of hundreds of Scholar alumni who helped us figure out how to set this up, seemed especially relevant to bring into the COVID-19 Peer Hub. So feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A. I'm now going to give you the practical, go into the practical details of the accelerator. I want to greet those of you who are joining us on Facebook. So Imam Wadabelo, Mumi Fokoe Abdullahi from Cameroon, and please tell us what city and country you're connecting from, please. So Samuel from Ghana, and Ida Christine who says hello from all over the world. And Ada, you are joining us from Kenya. So a warm welcome to you indeed. So let's get into the specifics, all right? What is it all about? So there's a 4-week intense focus buy-in for Peer Hub members and other Scholar alumni. And so what you're going to do is actually very practical. There will be no project, no peer review, no assignments due at the end of each week. There will be, you will focus on supporting each other in order to take your action plan and actually turn it into action. Yes, which may seem obvious, but without that prompt, you saw what difference it can make. But to work together with others once you have an action plan versus to try to go it alone, as Charlotte said. So we are going to welcome not only COVID-19 Peer Hub alumni or participants, but also Teach to Reach, DIP, and other recent Scholar courses. All Scholar alumni are going to be welcome to join. So the commitment is to actually do something with the action plan. If it was simply for you an academic exercise and you didn't really need that action plan, you probably are not going to be interested in the Impact Accelerator. So that's important to consider. And again, it's about commitment. The second commitment is to sharing your progress and challenges with peers, as you can see here. And then really the only requirement is once a week, either Friday or Monday. We're still working out the details. There'll be a short weekly report to update us on your progress. If you're going to be doing things with your action plan, we need to know it. It's not only to update us, but it's actually also, we will be sharing the reports about your successes, your challenges, how you're doing, have you had a breakthrough, all those things with everyone in the Peer Hub. So you'll be able to look at how others are doing. Have they had a lesson learned that they want to share? Have they had a success? Have they had a terrible defeat or failure? Whatever it may be, we're going to be sharing it with each other, with you, and hopefully that will facilitate you making sense of how best to make progress going forward. So here's a little bit more specifics about what you have to do. And then here's the timeline. So we'll be going through to the 16th of October. Every week is the same. Every week we're asking you a single question. Are you ready for action? What actions are you actually taking to carry out your action plan to keep vaccination services going during the pandemic? So what you do is actually up to you. You will be asked to set a specific objective, and at the end of this assembly, I'm actually going to be showing you the first questionnaire that will be really the point of entry, the door to join the accelerator. So the only thing each week, there's really a weekly assembly that's on Monday. So you already have been participating in those, and that's important. It is not mandatory, but you're encouraged to join because this is where you can really feel and hear and listen to everyone from all other countries and your own country to share the experience and to hear how the progress to implementation is actually going. You can see the other aspects here. There'll be remote coffees for those who are actively participating, and we'll be sharing. So what you report back will be shared with everyone. Of course, in an assembly, we can hear only from a few people, but you'll get the full file as long as you stay active. So you can get an overview and ideas and practices, what's actually working, what's not, and so on. What use you make of it, whether you really need those reports for yourself, that's for you to determine, but we will be making them available. And now the special role for country teams is defined as outlined here. So really, we will not be doing the daily support sessions as we did during exercise 1. Instead, we expect countries that have now organized their teams with team leaders and COVID-19 focal points to take the leadership for providing support and taking concrete action. So country teams should not be meeting in order because we ask you to have a meeting or because we ask you to form a country team. The real purpose, the reason for being of the country team is to take concrete action together to support fellow countrymen and women who are trying to implement their projects. So these are their projects or action plans. To give you an example from Shalini from last year's Impact Accelerator, I don't think you can actually see this very well, but this is what the work that Shalini and her Indian colleagues did was to put together, basically summarize all of the projects that had been developed before the Impact Accelerator, bring those different pieces together and actually figure out what the country team's projects and priorities were going to be based on that. It's a remarkable work, and there were many country teams that did this kind of intensive work because they wanted to and because they saw the need for it. This is not something we are prescribing. It is not coursework. But if this is something you need to do, and there are people who are willing to do it, then by all means, go for it. As country groups, we respect your autonomy, and we will not be interfering or prescribing or telling you in any way what you need to do. We'll only be making suggestions, sharing the experience from the previous accelerator. Here you can see 3 key questions that keep coming back, so I'm not going to read through them, but basically, the second bullet point, the Launchpad is really not a course. No projects, no peer review. It's focused on making things happen. And so that is almost entirely in your hands. What we're betting, though, is that by doing it together, by being connected in this way, now that you have gotten to know each other in the last few weeks, in the first few weeks of the COVID-19 Peer Hub, there's a lot of trust. There's a lot of mutual respect. As you can see, we are far fewer in numbers who completed exercise 1 than those who joined the Peer Hub. So you know you are amongst friends and you are among people who are diligent and committed. So that is what the next stage is about. Just a few tips from those who were in the Impact Accelerator before. You can see here a few of these tips about sharing the action plan with your country team, focusing on small activities, and you can share obstacles through the General Assembly. So they're not lightning sessions; they're just the General Assembly, and then through your country team, of course. I'd like to ask Alain Blaise. We've heard from Charlotte last, and actually from Shalini as well. Alain, if you could tell us what would be, before we go to the questions, let me just get them up on screen so people can take them in. What would be your recommendations or your advice to COVID-19 Peer Hub participants who decide to go for the Accelerator Launchpad? And then Shalini, I'd love to hear if you could summarize your experience last year and last year's Launchpad, not so much the country group challenges, but your individual work. Alain and then Shalini.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So thank you, Reda, for the question. So first of all, I would like to congratulate all those who are here. And shortly, if I want to give an advice, I will start first with what is the most important thing in anything we're doing is your personal motivation. Really you have to be motivated and then to aim small. Although we have big aims, but I think that for the Impact Accelerator, what is important is to take small and clear steps, very concrete and precise, the way we did it for our action plan. We can see big, but let's start act small. And the second advice would be really to count on the country team. By experience, all the scholars who were able to really move forward and faster, they did it not only alone, but with the support of other colleagues. And it was really impressive. And I'm happy because we hear a lot of experience today, sharing experience. So it's really important that we create that country structure. Is proven to be a critical support element. The second thing, brother, I would say, don't keep your plan for yourself. Please share it with your colleague, because for the implementation, then you need what we call stakeholders. And your first stakeholders are in the office with you. So please go ahead and share your plan, take some input. That will help you to move faster. I will stop here, Reda, for now, and looking forward to really hear from because I know what is happening. I won't sell the secret. It's impressive what is happening, and I know that we are all learning, and we will hear from scholars who were a bit faster than we thought. Great. Thank you, Reda.
Thank you very much, Alain. Let's now hear from Dr. Shalini Kare, who's now a member of the Scholar team, but last year she was a recent alumnus of the program. Shalini, what would you like to share about the best parts of joining the Accelerator last year?
Hi, Reda, and thank you very much for inviting me to talk, actually. And hello to all the scholars. It's great to have you here. So I would like to basically say that being part of a country group is really exciting, because you can exchange ideas, you can think about projects where your objectives or activities are similar and your focus is similar. And if you're able to compile all what you're doing and present it to the stakeholders, and as Alain said, it's very important to have the stakeholders buy in so that you can implement your projects. And the second point is be very concise about what you want to do. You have to think about the impact and showcasing the impact. So what you learned or when you were doing your action plan, there were those 5 things that you thought of: who, what, where, when, how. If you can define that and pick out one activity which you can do in the short term, because long-term goals are good, but COVID-19, the pandemic, is now, it's happening now. So you have to think of something which you can do now in the next 2 to 3 months, and where you can showcase the impact. And for the team leaders and the focal points, I would say it's up to you how, even if people are doing individual projects in your country, it's a great, great thing that they're doing, to put it in one place and to present what you all have done and the ideas that you have come up with, and to compile that and showcase it is going to be fantastic and phenomenal for your countries to recover the immunization services and to strengthen the health systems. So those are the points that I can think of right now, Reda.
Great.
Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shalini, for sharing that experience. We're now going to look at the questions. So let me bring that back up for everyone in Zoom. And really, project action plan we're using interchangeably, so whatever you prefer. I see that Janada Dimas has had her hand raised for a little while. So let's hear from Janada, whether if you had a specific concern or question that you wanted to share, or whether you wanted to take on these questions. Your hand is raised, so that means we want to give you a chance to speak. Otherwise, we are looking for, Subhadip Bunya has also, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, Subhadip. Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening. Yes, we hear you loud and clear. Please proceed.
Just like Friday evening, I have also shared with you the same thing. I want to share with these other peoples also. We have myself have started implementing one part of the project, and basically in India, auxiliary nurse and midwives are involved in routine immunization, and in this thing, most important part of getting rid of this vaccine hesitancy, as well as in decreasing the dropout rate, we have to train them. So that is the first part, and for the training purpose, we are using this Zoom meeting. And of the one districts, I am doing for around 100 and 150 total ANMs will be involved, and all of them will be trained through Zoom for one day. That will be mostly the retraining part, and mostly the development of the new microplan rather than revised microplan for this routine immunization, so that we can reduce the dropout and also we can reduce the left out. That is the main important focus till the say you can say last 7 days we are working on that thing. So next Friday it will be implemented. So I think by next 15 to 16 days, the revised microplan will be prepared. And that will be a big achievement in my view, sir.
Okay, thank you. Are you able to see the questions on screen? Because there's a few questions about what are your next steps in the coming week? But how do you expect colleagues, individuals, colleagues at work, or fellow scholars from your country team, to help you implement your project?
Yes, basically, I am expecting other colleagues also will be involving in the same project, but they will be working in the different districts. So overall, there will be a big improvement of this in the West Bengal. So overall, there will be big improvement by say next 4 weeks. There will be improvement.
All right, thank you, Subhadip, and I encourage you. Okay, I see 2 questions in the Q&A. All right, so let me try to get to those first. So first of all, from Hini Senal, who says, what happens if we have a good plan and there's significant progress too, but still can't show results in 4 weeks? So let me just reassure you, 4 weeks is an extremely short time. Of course, in the context of a crisis, it's a little bit different, but the expectation is that you will be asked to set a specific goal that is achievable within 4 weeks that will contribute to achieving your result. So what you define now, we explicitly said in July 2019, we don't expect you to have achieved impact in 4 weeks, or yes, but actually some people gave us shared back impressive outcomes from that from that very short period, but that's not the expectation. The expectation is to kind of kickstart your implementation by doing it with this methodology. And then let me see, Sanjay Funcho. Every time the team mentioned about country team task, what if a smaller country is like Bhutan where participation is limited? Yes, that's a very good question. So Sanjay, I want to encourage you. So there are many countries actually that don't have a country team just because there are too few participants, or it just didn't happen, or it hasn't happened so far. So if my suggestion there is really to participate as an individual. We're thinking about regional meetings. That's one of the great suggestions from Shalini, in which if you have no one from your country, at least you can get together with folks from neighboring countries. We've had, for example, the sole participant from Libya or from Greece. Yes, there is room for you in the Impact Accelerator. The way it works, you can fully participate as an individual. Some people don't have the time. There is a country group, but they don't have time to give to the country group. They just want to focus on their project. That is fine as well. So I hope that is helpful and reassuring and encouraging to those of you who are in that situation. Okay, great. I see 3 hands raised. So let me go to Gold Alozi Chijioke. Gold, are you able to unmute? We would love to hear from you. All right, so you'll have to accept the prompt. And then we also have Mohammed Otaru and Atahir Abubakar. Okay, Mohammed Otaru, the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Regarding the displayed question on the screen, the first one requiring whether I have kickstarted implementing my project. Yes, I have started the implementation.
So apologies, Mohammed, but you see the red bar. Start by telling us your name and where you work, please.
Oh, okay, I beg your pardon. Yes, I am Mohammed Orin Otaru. I'm a technical facilitator with the Kaduna State Ministry of Health. So I have kickstarted the project this month. In fact, this ending week, just last week, this week, Monday, I began by preparation of micro planning I made a micro plan in regard health facilities with a high dropout rates. So we analyzed the micro plan in respect to the tickler bag and the child immunization register. We sorted out all the vaccination cards from April 2020 up till August 2020. So with that, we were able to map out all the child or children who were due for one antigen or the other. So, and we did that in respect, in regard the routine immunization provider and the community volunteers, those people that work within the community and also track defaulters. And of course, we use the child vaccination card and the registration in the child immunization register. So, so far, the key stakeholders are the government official within the health facility, because we liaise together with the local government PHC partners, the UNICEF, WHO, and AFNet therewith. Then the local government social mobilization officer was also a very strong key holder, because we need them to help us engage the community prior to the vaccination activity, because the project was tagged tracking defaulters amid COVID-19 through mobile vaccination exercise. So we move to the community, we track the defaulters, we agree at a particular waiting point, usually the frontage of the community leader within any community that was mapped out. And of course, it is tagged in respect to the nature of defaulters within such community. So answering the third question, what do I intend to achieve by the end of the 4 weeks? Yes, hopefully by the end of the 4 weeks Impact Acceleration Launchpad, I intended that we must have had a reduced or reasonable dropout that is within the national acceptance. That is 10% dropout rate. So at that, within these 4 weeks, we hope that the way things are going now, because so far we have vaccinated over 50 children so far. Just just 2 days exercise, we vaccinated over 50 children, and we hope to scale it in various health facilities with high dropout rate amid COVID-19. So at the end of the launchpad, we hope to have reduced the nature of dropout within health facilities, and of course across the local government and the state at large. Then my next step in the coming week, yes, my next step in the coming week is to continue with the defaulters tracking, because the defaulters tracking now is still a key. In fact, at a point we realize that there are people or caregivers who up to date did not believe that they can visit the health facility for immunization service delivery. So we still intend to continue until we are able to track and vaccinate all children who are due for one antigen or the other. Then how do I expect colleagues or individuals, okay, yes, to help me in the implementation of the project? Yes, other colleagues, of course, can help in the implementation of this project by supporting the idea, by supporting the plan. So all hands, I think, would be on deck, because a colleague at a partner, precisely UNICEF mobilization officer within the local government, was very helpful, because she was out as well. She mobilized all the ward volunteer supervisors and the community volunteer supervisors, of which we went to one community together. We went to the other community together. So they've kind of been helpful in the aspect of, support, mobilization, and of course in the creation of demand so that caregivers could access the immunization services there. Thank you. I'm out.
Thank you very much indeed for this, for your answers to these questions. As we prepare to launch the Impact Accelerator today, let's go to Gold Alosier Chijioke. Let's see if I know she's able to unmute her microphone. Are you able to do so again, Gold? All right, let's to unmute one more. And just some great comments on Facebook. All right, from Bosco Mapunda, and it says hello. And then from Alain Blaise, who says, good job to Mohammed in response to Mohammed's presentation. That was inspiring. Thank you for sharing. You're actually the first to report back on the Launchpad. Congratulations and all the best with your work. Yes, indeed. Okay, I know Gold was able to unmute. So unfortunately, she doesn't seem to be able to do so again. So let's go to Sida Lingaya.
Hello.
Yes, hello, Sida Lingaya.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Reda. Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, I'm from India, and I worked on a project with a specific focus on vaccinating higher age group children, basically as per our national immunization schedule. As we all know, even now, India, in many parts of India and including Karnataka, we are facing a lot of cases of COVID, and still the number is increasing, and we have not yet reached the plateau. And so the situation is demanding all the schools and other educational institutions to be closed, and so we don't know when they're going to start again. But however, we are also facing this diphtheria high transmission season now. So we wanted to, like every year, we usually take up school vaccination just before the onset of high transmission season in the month of maybe July, August. But this year, since this COVID pandemic, that was affected actually. So there was a plan from the state government to somehow cover these children who otherwise were in the previous years used to be covered in schools in school sessions. Now we made another alternate plan. We trained all the health workers, and we told them to prepare area-wise beneficiary lists of the school going children, and call them for vaccination, bring them to the vaccine outreach sessions that are usually held at other places which are like non-school. So we have trained them, and it is already going on. The work is already going on. We are documenting that the coverage is also, like, we know the target for each area and how many of these children are being immunized. We are documenting. So it's already like the project which we planned is ongoing, and maybe I think we are halfway through the task, and in another maybe 15 to 20 days, or maybe within 1 month, we'll be reaching up to the targets. For this, we have involved many stakeholders, like other like education department officials. Their support is also it is taken, and we have even arranged the logistics and vaccines that are required for this sort of activity. So this is happening in addition to the vaccination of younger children. Like as we all know, like most of the countries have this primary vaccines given below within 1 year of age, and then booster doses at 1.5 year, 5 year, 10 year, 16 year, something like that, which we follow in India, maybe similar in other countries also. So this 5 year, 10 year, and 16 year children is the main focus group now, in addition to the younger age group that is being focused on. So we hope that in spite of these challenges posed by COVID-19, we'll be not leaving behind any age group for immunization, and we'll be covering them, and we'll gradually will document and we'll share, because we are monitoring them. We are getting the reports of coverages, so we'll know like which all areas are able to cover these children, and how much is the achievement by the end of next month. I think we'll be able to share better. Thank you.
Thank you very much for answering these questions. Now, let's go back to specifics. Just a reminder for those of you who are joining us on Facebook who may not be familiar yet with the COVID-19 Peer Hub. So the point is to share experience, spread ideas, take action to keep vaccination going during the pandemic. On the 27th of July, more than 3,900 participants joined the Peer Hub. And here we are 8 weeks later, getting ready to launch what we call the Impact Accelerator. So if you look on the COVID-19 Peer Hub page, you'll see that the Impact Accelerator is the third component, a launchpad for turning your plan into action. And that is what we are discussing. 700 action plans were developed and peer-reviewed in the first 6 weeks of the Peer Hub's activities. And we're now at the stage where those participants who have developed these plans are going to, for the next 4 weeks, focus on what action are they going to take, how are they going to collaborate together, and to show that it is possible to do better and go faster by working together in this connected way as a distributed network. One more quote from Dr. Tanushree Mandal, who's been quite prolific. Thank you so much, Tanushree. It's always been a great learning platform in these General Assemblies, listening to the experiences of scholars and alumni. Feel blessed and can feel inside the inspiration to turn things to reality. It helps in metamorphosing a person and turns him or her with all the skills and the requisite potentials, creating leaders in its way. That's a beautiful quote. I think we will, I will personally treasure that one. And thank you for sharing your experience. We're going to be asking you to do so more formally in questionnaires and surveys and so on. But this is quite unique. Now, what you're going to receive if you completed your action plan or if you want to participate in the Impact Accelerator is a questionnaire. So let me take you through the questions, and then we'll go back. We'll use the remainder of the time to answer any questions you may have about the process, and also to hear hopefully more presentations about how you are going to go about implementing what you developed in the first phase of the Peer Hub. So first of all, we always ask for your email address, and please be careful retyping, otherwise you might completely miss out on the accelerator. Second, we ask you to make the decision. So the participation in the Impact Accelerator Launchpad is not mandatory. If you want to work on your action plan and figure out what concrete steps to take, and you don't want to do it alone, you would rather do it with fellow participants in the Peer Hub, then you choose yes. Next question is, remember, there will be alumni from other courses who might join the accelerator, but most likely, in all cases, we're going to be looking at the COVID-19 context. And for those of you who are in the room, obviously, it is the COVID-19 Exercise 1 project that you have completed. So first question about the substance. Where are you with your project implementation? If you haven't started, that is fine. Choose A. If you started, but you still have things that you want to do, that's B. And if you've actually, maybe you developed a project that was super simple and to the point, just something you needed to do to adapt to the pandemic, and you've done it. Let us know that. Would really love to hear more about that. So I'm going to say I haven't yet started. And then you look at your action plan. So you have both a challenge and then a specific goal, I think we called it, or objective. I think it's a goal, we called it. And so can you do it in less than a month? Like what you set out to do in your action plan. So if that's the case, choose A. If it takes 1 to 3 months, 4 to 6, you have a lot of options here. And this will help us to answer Sahini's question in part. We know 4 weeks is a really short time. So instead, you're going to see how, okay, so let's say, well, actually, I wouldn't want to say that. I would say probably 1 to 3 months. So certainly more than the time here. Next, we ask you about the thematic area. So these are the categories. If you remember the ideas engine, you'll recognize these. And you do have an other option here. So let's say I'm going to work on demand. Okay. Popular topic. Is your project integrated with a broader EPI program? So that may not be as simple as a yes or no answer, but you do your best to answer it as a binary. We know it can be more complicated than that if you develop something in the Peer Hub, to take it to the EPI team, even if you are part of the EPI team. But I'm going to say yes. Okay. Now, there's very few open questions, all right, where you actually have to write out stuff. This is the next 4 weeks are about, there's going to be very lightweight. We're not going to be asking you for very much, or we're going to try to minimize how much we ask. So we want 2 to 5 sentences in which you summarize your project. So what do you propose to do? Okay, we'll fix the spelling mistake here. And how do you propose to do it? All right. So you want to write that out here and summarize your project. So we know your project is probably a few pages long. Just give us the basics, like the bottom line. What is it you're trying to do and how you were proposing to go about it? I'm not going to fill that in here now. So now that's the overall summary of the project. Now we need the specific objective from exercise 1 that you want to achieve in the next 4 weeks. So Sohini, that's different from what you're aiming for with your project. It's really looking at the chunk of time, 4 weeks, looking at everything else you have going on in your professional work, and then picking something. So in my case, I chose demand. So you can see we already know that my thematic area is demand. All right. So I don't want to write here, my specific objective is not going to be restore demand for vaccination. It's going to have to be more specific than that. So more detailed. It might be something, I keep using this example of, this month I'm going to present my project to the partners and get their feedback. Okay, that could be an example. So it could be something very modest, but something realistic and achievable that you would actually be able to do. That's really the key. That's what we are hoping for. So again, you want to fill that in. And now the most important action that you'll carry out. Remember, we went from overall project, then next 4 weeks. And now we're actually asking you, what are you going to do? The most important action in the next 7 days. So that's even more micro, really like something tangible, because the following week we'll be asking you, remember you said you would do this in the next 7 days? So have you done it? And there's no judgment. We just want to understand and be able to monitor and share what you are doing and how it's going, so that we can then figure out ways to support you. And I'll be saying a little bit more about that in next Monday's assembly, what we're going to be offering beyond what will be presented today. Next, you have seen these kinds of questions before. Do you have a success story, a lesson learned? You know that if you're in a hurry or if you truly don't have anything to share, you just click this one and that skips over the question. But if you say, yes, I have a success story, all right, then we want the details. All right, so that's more work for yourself, but this is at the core of the Peer Hub experience. Just like with the ideas engine, some of you took a little bit of time to realize the benefit of having this database of ideas available that you could plug into and search for information. So here you want to tell us what happened and how it turned out. Be specific in detail so we can understand your story. And again, the difference is what you submit here will be shared with everyone in the Peer Hub. So it won't only be shared with us, with the Peer Hub team. It'll be shared with everyone. A couple of final questions is one, what about country team participation? Has it been useful? And there's really 2 questions. Are you attending? And then is it useful to you? And we're not assuming. We think that country teams are probably a good thing, but in some countries they may not work out. And if that's the case, we need to know. And this is how you can tell us. And we don't want you to attend country team meetings just because you're very diligent and feel compelled to. These country teams, remember, the overarching purpose of the country team is actually to support you, to support each other, to support people from your country in progressing towards progressing their their activities, their action plans, their projects, to actually turn them into action results and ultimately impact in the face of the pandemic to keep vaccination services going. So I'm going to say I attend country teams and it has been useful. And last but not least, we ask you to confirm your commitment. All right. And if you're going to say no, I'd ask that you still confirm you still answer this question so we can know that it's not just that you lost track of the emails or you lost your password, but that you decided that this peer hub, this part of the peer hub, this phase, this Impact Accelerator is not for you. Maybe you're exceptionally busy, whatever the case may be, whatever the reason, we do ask you, we do need to, this is basically like a head count, figuring out who's in and who's out. So if I'm going to say yes, of course. And then some people actually go through all this whole questionnaire and forget to click the submit button. So we actually added here, do not forget to click on the submit button. I'm not going to submit it because obviously we don't want sort of dummy data, but I hope you get the point here. And so this is your ticket into, this is the entry ticket into the Impact Accelerator. Just checking the Q&A. I don't see any other questions. I see Philip Obed Nuobe, who's having trouble with his network. I'm sure, Obed, you are not the only one. But thank you for sharing that. And we are with you. So we have 12 minutes left. So now you know what's going to be asked of you. Look for the email that will come right after this session. It contains a special link that is personal. It contains your name and email. So you want to click that link. And that is how actually when you come into this, don't know if you notice, we actually know what your name and email are, but we ask you to retype it anyway. So that's it so far. I have, and I'm sorry to Atahir Abubakar. You raised your hand a long time ago, so I'm eager to hear you how you are approaching the Accelerator Launchpad. Atahir, welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Reda. Good evening, other colleagues. Yeah, I'm Atahir Abubakar, calling from Zamfara State in Nigeria. I have started implementing my project so far. We have mapped some hard-to-reach areas where we found out that lack of PPEs, especially face mask, is preventing caregivers from accessing services vis-a-vis routine immunization and other clinical services, because the cost of the PPE face mask is roughly 200 naira, which is not easy for them. Then secondly, they have to pay another 100 naira to buy hand gloves for any service they are going to attend in the facility. So it's affecting immunization uptake in most of the hard-to-reach areas. So we rally around to get some support from some stakeholders in order to provide face masks. Because what they normally do is, if one has a common face mask, she'll go and access that services. Then when she comes out, she'll give the next person to go in and access the service. So they are like sharing face masks among themselves, which is very contagious. So the key stakeholders involved are the COVID-19 committee in the states, and secondly, the private healthcare board in the state, and some developmental partners, WHO, UNICEF, CDC affiliate, New Incentive, and some private organizations that are willing to support, which they have already started making commitment. Now, what do I intend to achieve by the end of the 4 weeks of the Impact Accelerator launch? I will build on my existing network, making more contact again. Then I need to add more value on my stakeholders mapping and giving feedback to stakeholders as a result of what is happening in the field based on our project. So the first step, the steps in coming week will involve mapping another hard-to-reach communities so that we list them and know the exact location of those health facilities, which if similar thing is happening in those health facilities, then we can provide our intervention of face masks. Then my colleagues Okay, sorry, Reda, your name is covering the last bullets.
So how do you expect colleagues, individuals or country teams to help you implement your project?
Yeah, my colleagues or individual, I will they will be supporting me in mapping donors who can support, who can be providing PPEs, i.e. face masks and hand glove if possible. So that will be my request. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you very much indeed. Atahir Abubakar from Nigeria. I see Rohe Nchie, who has also a hand raised. Rohe, please go ahead and unmute yourself. We would love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you very much, Reda. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I would like to thank Charlotte, because I was going through the chat box and I saw her said we will encourage participants, especially shy ones who have not talked so far in this Global Assembly. Well, I think this is my first time speaking on the Global Assembly. Well, my full name is Rohingyai. I am a stop communication for development consultant with UNICEF Sokoto Field Office. So just to share also my own project experience through answering these 5 key questions. Right now, I am implementing my own project that I've written and submitted for the peer hope exercise on COVID-19. So my project was about a production of a documentary on polio entitled "A Day in This in the Life of a Polio Survivor." We know that the primary healthcare, National Primary Healthcare Agency, in collaboration with the Global Polio Eradication Program, has done incredible strategies, ideas, intervention in making sure that today they achieve polio-free certification for the wild polio virus. So this, connecting to the community structures and networks. And the polio survivors group are one of those groups that has really contributed, and I believe their contribution to the polio eradication, leading to this legacy in the history of public health in Nigeria, just last August 25th, has also been recognized. So, but then if you look at Sokoto state where I am right now, this project is being implemented in 3 states around this northern Nigeria, which is Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara. So, because you will see that right now, since people are talking about wild polio virus being free of it, but so most of the community members are asking, why do we need polio vaccination again? So I think with that, we do not want to relent in our effort. In as much as while polio is being kicked out, but we have other strains of, vaccine preventable diseases and even polio as well. As I am speaking to you now, we are having circulating vaccine drive polio virus in Sokoto right now. And just last week, we've done OBR1 campaign to make sure that we respond to that outbreak. So we know that seeing is believing. These polio survivors group coming live, giving their living testimonies on the impact of polio, we believe will really help to create more awareness on polio vaccination, acceptance, and demand from the communities to help in demanding for polio vaccination, as well as other vaccine preventable diseases. So I believe right now the stakeholders involved in this, because as I said, we started the implementation last month. So the stakeholders involved are the Sokoto State Primary Healthcare Development Agency itself, supported by UNICEF, and of course the media institutions that are going to record this. So as I am speaking to you now, we are conducting the interviews with polio survivors, individuals and groups from these 3 states that I have just mentioned, that is Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara. So I think our next step, what do we aim to achieve with this? As I said, we aim to make sure that when this project is done, after we do the editing and all not, we will be sharing on social media, sharing with community members themselves, and also playing on the state medias, even and on private medias as well, all aiming to raise awareness. Let people see, see what polio has really impacted. So I think that is one way to be able to do a social behavior change communication when people are seeing it from the horse's mouth themselves. So I think that will really help. So when you come to the 4th question, which is the next step for the coming weeks, as I said, the interviews are being conducted now. We are almost at the finishing line. As soon as the interviews are done, we will be doing the editing, and from there after the editing, we will share the final, version on social media platforms, the media, the community, and so on and so forth. Every other platform, we believe that this information could make impact to get into the people. We will use it. We will use that platform and channels. So I think the fifth question is how colleagues can help individuals or the country team. I think I would like to really thank my colleagues very well from both the country teams and even the other team members who I have met on the peer hub, because first of all, they were able to contribute, review my project and share their ideas, which were, incredible, adjustments that they did, and I have incorporated that. And I think from that also, when the final version is done, we will be also sharing with colleagues, especially colleagues in the country team from the Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Thank you so much. This is what I wanted to share.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll listen to, let's see, there's Ruth Alote. Ruth, are you there? Are you able to speak to us? Oh, it looks like you are speaking, Ruth, but at least...
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
yes,
wonderful.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Ruth Alote from Ghana. Hello.
Yes, we hear you loud and clear. Please proceed.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Ruth Alote from Ghana. It's actually my first time speaking on this platform. Yes, I have started implementing my project. I have gone to the necessary people who help me implement it and waiting for sponsorship to get to the final stage. The main stakeholders management, my colleagues, the telecommunication group, and then I intend to have access to quality health information at the hospital by the end of the launch pad. My next steps in the coming weeks are to follow up on the letters I've sent for sponsorship so that I'll be able to buy the necessary equipment for me to see the implementation of my project. And then I expect colleagues, that's the individuals in my country groups, they're already supporting already, and I'm very grateful. And then I'll also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Alain for the great support he's been giving me towards the success of my project. And then I expect all other colleagues who have implemented projects in the area of improving communication to also support me in this area. Sorry, I left out my topic, so it has made my communication a bit. The topic I'm working on is unlimited access to timely and quality health information at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Ruth Alote. You'll be our last speaker for the day. Great to hear the voices of those who are always ready to step up to speak, as well as new voices. We know that some of you are very quiet, perhaps shy, and are still working very diligently and are doing great work in your own context and contributing to the work of the network and the Peer Hub. Today was the day in which we asked you a question. You developed an action plan. Are you ready to take action? And this is the launch of what we call the Impact Accelerator, 4 weeks in which we will focus, we will collaborate together to turn those ideas, turn those plans into concrete actions on the ground. So we are with you. And to illustrate this, we needed a metaphor. So to close this meeting, here is how we think of the launch of the Impact Accelerator.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.